In this video, we're going to talk about some of the negative aspects of full-time RV living. Stay tuned. So several of the negatives I'm going to be sharing about full-time RV life is going to be around noise, right? So the noise outside your RV or camper are going to be exaggerated inside your camper versus a house. So one of the things that RV parks and campgrounds that we've seen do is locate themselves conveniently near an interstate or highway, frequently a busy one, because they want to capture the traffic, people traveling long distances in their RV and motorhomes, and they want to stop for one night, and they don't want you to have to travel several miles to get to their campground. So they very commonly will position themselves close to highways and interstates. Behind me right now is Interstate 80 in Nebraska, so it's constant, right? Day and night, there's never a break in traffic. On this end of the campground, obviously you're much closer to that. We're literally on the far other side, just by chance, on this campground. So we are as far as possible really from this. So it is muted for us quite a bit. We can still hear it, especially sitting outside and even inside you can hear the background noise. The truth is the brain gets used to this kind of noise, to all the noises I'm going to talk about, and really starts to tune them out so it doesn't become an issue. When you are somewhere quiet, it is noticeable that you're somewhere quiet versus this constant noise. And obviously you can find campgrounds that are further from the highways and interstate systems. But again, our experience has been a lot of them are near this for the convenience of their customers, and then the noise is just a side effect of that convenience. So I wanted to give this comparison of the other side of the RV park. I think the microphone picked up pretty well the noise behind me. We're at this edge of the RV park, and you can start to see behind me is the fullness of the RV park. I just walked down one of the roads to the far other side for the other video next to the interstate, and you can tell from here that the noise is reduced pretty dramatically, but we can still hear it obviously. But it is an element of this life that's worth noting for others who are considering this lifestyle. Another noisemaker in this life is the Aqua Hot. This is our hot water heater, on-demand hot water heater and furnace heat generator. And it is stored in this bay at the back of our RV. And our bedroom is right above this space. So the floor is not being super thick and super well insulated. When this guy runs, you hear it. Now we figured out how to use the quiet mode setting and how to only power on the diesel portion, which makes all the noise, before a shower. There is also an electrical element, heating element to this guy, a low and a high setting. And for dishwashing and hand washing and laundry, the electrical is plenty adequate. But for a long warm shower, you got to turn on the diesel. So before we really figured out the settings on this guy, it would sit here with the diesel mode activated. It kicks on and off throughout the night, all the time, to keep things conditioned and warm and ready for hot water on demand. And we just didn't know better, honestly. So once we learned how to run this guy better, we can keep it off basically for nighttime and still have warm water quickly and easily if needed. So the Aqua Hot, some people will have a water heater, traditional water heater. I've seen 6-gallon, I've seen 12-gallon, depending on the motorhome or the RV. And those probably aren't as loud as an Aqua Hot. This thing really spins up. I thought about making it kick on for the video so you can hear all the racket it makes, but it is a noisemaker for sure. You can hear it from outside the rig. And it's not like as loud as an engine running, but it's got a real hum and a buzz to it that's very distinct and obvious. So a negative, besides the noise of the Aqua Hot, a negative is going to be, it can be challenging to tune the tempering valve on this so that you have non-stop steady heat that's not burning your skin off and doesn't turn into a cold cycle every so often. So if you have the hot water heater, then you just have a 6 or 12-gallon hot water heater versus at a home it's typically 40 or 50 or 70 gallons. So it's going to limit the long hot showers or the number of people that can take a shower in a row. So whether you have on demand with the noise and some tuning challenges with that, or whether you have a hot water heater where it's like a tank holding water that's been heated, there are some negatives, and those are good to be aware of. I wasn't really sure how to capture this one best. I didn't want to get the ladder out, but you can see up here on top of the rig. It's one of the 2 air conditioners. You can see the other one up front probably. And when they run, they're attached right to the roof. This one's over our bedroom, and we like the room to be cool at night. So we have it set pretty cool, so we sleep comfortably. And when it runs, you're gonna hear the air conditioner noise for sure. I mean, there's no mistaking it. There are noisier models, there are quieter models. Of course, they cost money to get the quiet ones, but ours is pretty decent. We've heard worse, we've also heard better. So just awareness that the systems that make your house work, your RV function like a house, whether it's hot water or heat or air systems, they are close to you, and they are running on a ceiling or through walls or through floors that aren't that soundproof, frankly. And so you're going to hear more of all those noises than you would expect. Another noisemaker is rain and thunder. So everybody likes a good rainstorm, a good thunderstorm, but in an RV, you're going to get the full force of that sound coming through the roof. It's not bad, it's not terrible, and it just depends on time of day, right? So if it rains all night, you're going to have to learn to sleep through that, because that rain and that thunder, it's not quite as loud as being in a tent, but it's certainly louder than being in probably any house whatsoever. So rain noise, thunderstorms, and then another one is wind, right? So wind from the outside is going to potentially move the RV around, and it's going to make that sound, that wind sound is going to come in even more. And one wind noise that we've recently learned of is our awnings that we had installed on this side are held down by this strap, and it hums with enough wind, it starts humming pretty good. And I've learned that I can take a pool noodle. We did this last week, very recently, and just take a pool noodle and wrap it around this strap really well. Put a little piece of tape on it so it doesn't blow off, because it did, and it stops that hum. And then take the pool noodle off before we put that down. So wind is going to be a noisemaker that you're going to hear as another element of full-time RV living. Another reality of RV full-time living is going to be that stuff breaks, right? So this RV, when it's rolling down the road, it's often referred to, I'm kind of getting tired of the phrase, but it's a rolling earthquake, because realistically you've got 33,000 pounds of house and stuff and a 9,000 pound trailer behind you here, and you're bouncing down the road. The roads aren't perfect in this country by any stretch, so you're bouncing down the road. You hit a bridge, you hit a pothole, whatever it is, and it's jarring the whole house and everything in it. So things are going to break more often. We haven't had a horrible amount of luck with this yet. Electrical wires are going to shake loose sooner, so that's a piece of your maintenance. You have to check all kinds of electrical wire connections to make sure that everything's snug and tight. You could have plumbing issues develop. Anything that can go wrong will eventually go wrong. So that's why in my budget video I talked about having an emergency fund, because you're going to have stuff to fix. So just knowing that things are going to break, and you need to be able to handle most of it, because A, you're not going to be able to afford mobile tech or taking it in all the time, and B, you can't find them. It's really difficult to find help that's either reliable or even available at all to help with this stuff. So if stuff breaks, it's going to cost money. Be prepared for that. That's one more negative on the RV full-time living. Of course, in a house, things break as well, but I think that maybe the break rate is a little higher in this moving machine. Another negative for me is I just love connecting with people, and you just get connected with someone and then they move, or you move. And you know, it's really obvious and it shouldn't be a surprise, but it really is kind of sad sometimes. Our friends 2 sites over, Rick and Pat, left this morning. We saw them when we were here in April, and we saw them recently, and then they'll be back again next April as well. So we'll reconnect with them. But right next to us was, in this first spot a few weeks ago, was Charlie. Charlie was a great guy. And then across the way was John. And just getting to know people in just a short time is really fun. And sometimes those people are so neat that it's just a tiny bit sad that they're moving on. So I try to tell myself, you know, I'm going to meet that next new friend soon, and it's okay. There's plenty of people out here to get to know, and it just takes a little bit of effort. So losing people so quickly, but gaining new ones is kind of a trade-off. But it's sort of a negative for me, is how quickly those other people in your life come and go. And for the record, I did consult with the boss. I asked Rhoda. I kind of listed the things that I was going to include in this video, and I listed the things that other people might list as cons that I don't think are. She agreed with my list of everything that I just mentioned, and I said, what negatives would you say? And for her, it's the oven. She misses having a real house oven. Even though the convection microwave oven has worked really, really well, she has been able to make cheesecake and cookies, and you can bake bacon in there like we did before. She misses some of the consistency or whatever. She certainly figured out this oven and has made anything she wants to in it, but it's small. So sometimes it takes more batches of things to get things made, and it's not exactly the same. But she's figured it out, and yet that is the one and only negative that she has to share. I also want to acknowledge some of the negatives that you'll hear on other lists like this from people, and I guess we're fortunate that these are not negatives to us. People will talk about using a laundromat or even using the small washer and dryer in RV. To us, that's not a negative. They're just smaller. You do laundry more often, but it's not that hard. So laundry is not a negative for us. We've got that figured out. Having space for all your stuff, the trailer for us kind of changed that. It's not as much space as the house, but honestly, it was freeing for us to get rid of so much stuff and move into this life. There's a mental gain to be had by getting rid of stuff, and we really experienced that for ourselves. Then small living space is often talked about, the fact that whoever you're traveling with, you're near each other all the time. We are fortunate to like each other so well that that's not been a problem for us. We can work 2 feet apart and sit 2 feet apart in our evening chairs, our recliners, and we don't get sick of each other. We sometimes take a trip to the store by ourselves or go out and do chores or whatever. So it's not 24/7 all the time, but if that's a problem for you, then that'll be a negative. For us, that living space situation has not been a negative. Another one you hear people talk about is bad neighbors. We've not had any bad neighbors in almost a year now, and we've not had any problems with barking dogs and some of the outside noise that come from bad neighbors. So for us, we've just not run into that. Maybe it will become a problem at some point. And then some people will talk about missing a bathtub. Some RVs actually have a bathtub, the bigger luxury ones, but just the shower only is the common option in RV. I don't think we miss a bath too much. I've not taken a bath and I can't remember how long. I think baths are gross personally, but some people miss their bath, their soak, and that kind of thing. So I want to acknowledge that those are common negatives that people would share, but for us, they don't make our list. So that's really all of our list. It may sound like we're pretty spoiled if that's all of our negatives so far. We keep a pretty positive face on our choices of doing this, and we truly enjoy it. So if you have other negatives that you want to share in the comments, please do that. And then if this content is any value at all, please like and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. This lets YouTube know that our content is being watched, and it helps them present it to other people. Thank you.